I have walked through centuries of blood and silence. I carry no sword. I carry no name. I only watch. This story begins in the frozen north, where the sea was merciless, and men were forged by winter itself. They called themselves Norsemen. The world would come to know them as Vikings, raiders from the edge of the earth. In the year 793, they crossed the North Sea. Their target, the holy island of Lindisfarne. No one saw them coming. The monks had no walls, no army, only prayers. And prayers do not stop axes. That morning, the age of the Vikings was born in fire, and Europe would not sleep peacefully for 300 years. But the Vikings were never just destroyers. Behind the axe one was a craftsman, a trader, a builder of worlds. Their ships were their greatest weapon. Fast, silent, fearless. They could sail oceans and rivers alike. With these ships, they reached lands no European had ever seen. Iceland, Greenland, and beyond. They sailed west into the unknown and touched the shores of a new world, 5 centuries before Columbus. Back in Europe, no coast was safe. The Vikings struck like ghosts, fast, brutal, gone before dawn. In 845, they did the unthinkable. They sailed up the River Seine and laid siege to Paris itself. The King of France did not fight them. He paid them 7,000 pounds of silver to make them leave. Silver bought peace for a season, but it only taught the Vikings one lesson. Europe was rich, and Europe was weak. And so they returned, again and again. Not as raiders this time, but as conquerors who came to stay. They carved England into pieces. Kingdom after kingdom fell, until only one man stood against them. His name was Alfred, a Saxon king hiding in the marshes, the last hope of a dying England. In 878 at Edington, Alfred gathered his last warriors and turned to face the storm. Against all odds, the Saxons broke the Viking line. For the first time, the invaders learned how to lose. Peace was made. The Viking leader knelt and was baptized. The sword had failed where faith now ruled. But the Vikings did not disappear. They settled. They farmed the land they once burned and called it home. In the east, other Vikings rode down endless rivers and founded the kingdom that would become Russia. They reached the gates of Constantinople, the richest city on earth, and even served its emperor as elite guards. From the frozen north to the golden east, no people had ever traveled so far or feared so little. But the gods who carried them across the seas were already beginning to fade. From the south came a new power, the White Christ. And one by one, the old Norse gods began to die. Kings now bowed to churches, not to Odin. The age of raiders was quietly turning into the age of nations. In England, the Vikings rose one last time. A Danish king named Knut took the whole kingdom and a crown. For a moment, a Viking ruled an empire of the North Sea. But empires built on the sword rarely last. When Knut died, his empire shattered with him, and across the sea, a new threat was already sharpening his blades. The year was 1066, the most fateful year in Viking history. 3 kings, 1 throne, and a kingdom worth dying for. Harald Hardrada, the last great Viking, sailed for England with 300 ships, certain of victory. At Stamford Bridge, the English King Harold marched to meet him, faster than any Viking believed possible. One lone Viking held the bridge, a giant with an axe, cutting down dozens before he finally fell. Then the English broke through, and in the chaos, an arrow found Hardrada's throat. The last great Viking was dead. Stamford Bridge is remembered as the end of the Viking Age. The last great Norse invasion had failed forever. But fate is cruel. Just weeks later, the victorious English King Harold faced a new enemy in the south. William the Conqueror, himself a descendant of Vikings, came to take the English crown by force. At Hastings, two descendants of the Norse world collided, and the future of England hung on a single day. By nightfall, King Harold lay dead. The Normans had won, and the old Anglo-Saxon world was gone forever. The Vikings had conquered England once. Now, through the Normans, England conquered itself in their blood. Across the sea in Scandinavia, the longships rotted on the shores. The age of raiding was truly over. But the Vikings did not truly disappear. They simply became something new. Normans, Russians, Icelanders, kings. Their blood still runs in millions of veins. Their words still live in our languages. Their stories never died. Every legend of dragons and warriors, of fearless explorers, began with them. The North never forgets. To understand the Vikings, you must see them at home, where life was not war, but survival against the cold. Their women were no mere shadows. Some ran farms and trade, and a few took up the shield themselves. And when a great warrior died, they sent him to the gods in fire, aboard his own burning ship. They believed the brave would feast in Valhalla, in the golden hall of Odin, until the end of the world. It was Eric the Red, an exiled outlaw, who pushed even further west, to a frozen land he named Greenland. His son, Leif Erikson, sailed further still, and became the first European to walk on American soil. But the New World wasn't empty. The Vikings met its people, and the meeting did not end in peace. Outnumbered and far from home, the Vikings abandoned America. Their greatest discovery slipped from history. For 5 centuries, no European would return. The Vikings had found a world, and then let it go. This is how the Viking Age truly ended. Not with one great battle, but with a slow fading into legend. I watched it all. The first sail, the last sword. Empires that rose like fire and fell like ash. Men called them savages, but I saw farmers, poets, mothers, dreamers, people like any other, swept up by their age. Every age believes it will last forever. None of them do. That is the only lesson history ever teaches. The Vikings are gone, but their courage, their hunger to see what lies beyond, that still lives. Perhaps in you. I am the Shadow Witness. If you wish to walk through history with me, subscribe and follow. The next story is already waiting in the dark.